Hello, and welcome to Marketing, Branding, and Getting the Sale. We are here every time, same week, same day, even of the week. Maybe a bit too early. That obviously my brain isn't functioning properly yet. Anyway, do pop in the chat, hashtag replay if you're watching this after the fact, and hashtag live if you're watching now. And we're open to any questions that you may have. And questions, that's actually the topic for today. Questions to ask about your target audience that nobody told you. So before we dive into that, let's just do some quick intros in case you haven't met any of us before. Jess, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, so good morning. And for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Jess. I make businesses more profitable, more scalable by making sure that the brand is attracting the right people. So I've got a 6-step brand loyalty process that I take my clients on, which helps them in that journey. So whether that's employing more staff, getting into higher end retailers, launching new products, whatever that scale looks like, we can make sure the brand works towards that.
You're on mute.
And I'm muted. Stephen, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Stephen Lerman from Chameleon BDS Limited. So for those people that don't want to, or don't have the resource to make outbound calls and set their own appointments, I do that for them. I update CRM, send out emails, and hopefully get you in front of the people you want to.
Fantastic. Thank you, Stephen. And for anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Una Doyle. I'm a business strategist and coach, and I specialize in helping creative business owners to grow fun to run, highly profitable businesses that make a bigger impact. I also have a session where I can help any business owner to unlock 50K in 50 minutes at the very least. And if you want to know more about that, comment below or send me a DM. I'll be happy to share a video that shows you the 5 steps of exactly how I do that. Okay, so let's look at today's topic. So questions to ask about your target audience that nobody told you. I think before we dive into the questions, and Jess has got a nice list for us here of 6, isn't it? 6 questions. So stay tuned for each of those. I think it's important to actually just look at, well, why bother? Why would you be wanting to know more about your target audience? Stephen, what's your thoughts on this?
So for me, I think it's important to ask the right questions, because if I'm going to not so much sell on behalf of a client, I need to have faith, believe, and understand who I'm talking to. So I want to have an understanding of the client that I'm going to be working with, and I want to know, do I align with their thoughts? Do I align with their mantra? Do I align with what they're looking to achieve? Because if I have no faith, then I'm not going to go 110% to get appointments and to try and get my client in front of those prospects. So for me, I want to believe. I want to be a believer. So I want to ask the right questions to understand and see if I can align myself with that company. After all, I'm assuming the role of that company when I'm calling on their behalf. So if I'm representing, I want to believe.
That's really interesting, because for you, it's a very close relationship, isn't it? That's I think for most service-based business owners it is, but for you, not only are you working with that client, but you're actually representing that client. So it's kind of a whole deeper level again. So yeah, very interesting take on that. So yeah, I think for me, it's time and time again. When I'm working with clients, what I found is that they haven't done this work to get deep enough into really understanding their clients, and without that, they're not able to stand out from their competition. And I think that is, well, there's a few reasons. One is you got to stand out from your competition. I think another one is because you got to make sure that your offers are really meeting the needs of your clients. So, if you stand out from the competition, and when people land, they come across you, whatever way, whether it's through social media, your website, at an event, or through a piece of marketing, and when they look and go, wow, this person or this company gets me, that's the response that you want, isn't it? Oh, they get me. Okay, great. They get me, they get my problems, they get my challenges, they get my aspirations and my goals. And not only that, they know more about those than I do. Okay. And actually having really powerful getting the answers to really powerful questions allows you to be able to have a totally different kind of conversation once you actually get in front of your client. Because the questions that we're talking about here today are really that this is our market research. This is what we need in order to be able to create powerful strategies that work in our business. And the answers to these will feed into your market dominating position, all your marketing messages, the offers that you create, even what kind of sales process you put together, because depending on the answers, it's that may well vary as well. So I just wanted to get across why it's so important to do this, so that you stay tuned and really get focused on this. So do pop any questions that you have into the comments, or share your experience as well. We'd love to hear from people. So all right, let's go over to Jess. So Jess, what is the first question that we ought to be asking about our target audience?
I'd say as well, just before I dive into that, another really good, because, having that emotion in that message, like you were saying, Stephen, standing out, exactly what you were saying, Una, also keeping your clients for longer. We getting clients to one-off purchase. We want to increase that lifetime value for them, making them more profitable, making them enjoy the experience a bit more. And the stat is actually, just a 5% increase in your customer retention, which is your loyalty, and they keep coming back for more. Will increase your profits up to 95%, just a 5% increase. So if you've never, if you've only scratched the surface in the past with who your target audience is, and then you can go deeper after these questions, then you could exceed 5% easily. So yeah, that was just another thing that I thought I'd love to jump in with as well. The first question. So I've written them down so I don't forget them, because whenever we go off these lives, I think, oh no, I should have mentioned this. So the first one, I've talked about this before in the lives. It's, what are their functional needs? What is it that your brand, your product is solving for your target audience on a logical level? So are you saving them time, saving them money? Are you, letting them stay in control? Are you simplifying their life? Things like that. What is it that your brand is offering? Then look deeper into that. What's the emotional gain? So what does your customer emotionally want? Everyone logically needs something. That's why you go out and buy things. But you've got an emotional side as well that's crying out for something too. So that could be, think about how they feel. Do they feel optimistic after using your brand or product? Do they feel comfortable, authentic? What is that gain that they're getting? And make sure, you can find out if that's what they want as well. The third one, so I call it, with my clients, I call this the enemy. So finding out what their enemy is. So, thinking about what torments them every day. What is it that, is getting in the way? A quick example is a Starbucks example. So say, the marketing team, the business team have got around the table and thought, right, okay, what can our message be, for this year, this quarter, what's our target? And they've really dug deep into the target audience to figure out what they do on a daily basis, who they are, what's going on around them, what's stopping them. And say they've thought of a single mum. So a single mum comes into Starbucks for a coffee on a daily basis on her way to work. What is this single mum's enemy? And they've thought it's time, because she's not got enough time in the day. She's always saying, oh, I wish I had more time in the day. There's not enough hours in the day. I've got to sort my kids out, get to work, sort myself out. So they've hooked onto that and said, okay, we'll come into Starbucks and have a moment of peace for yourself. Just be a minute, but we'll give you that time, just to enjoy for yourself. So then they've run with that, and it's attracted the right people for their product, people they know that they can serve. So think about who your customer's enemy is. Number 4, we want to think about, what do you want them to see, think, do, feel, and say? Again, thinking deeper than you want them to buy. I want them to buy this product. What is it you want them to feel about it? What do you want them to say to other people? Things like that. So when you look at that, you're looking at the customer journey. Okay, so going deeper than that, so number 5 is, you want to know what they're already feeling, thinking, and doing at each stage of the journey. So for instance, your customer journey starts from them noticing your brand. So say you've done some ads, or say, you've put your logo somewhere, or whatever you've done, they've seen your brand. So that's noticing your brand all the way until them actually becoming a loyal customer, that's constantly, don't want anyone else but your brand, constantly telling other people about who you are, and you've got that strong connection. So you've got different stages through that journey. So you want to look at what they're already feeling, thinking, and doing at each of them stages. If you want to know more about that, then please, pick my brains, let me know. But that's something to keep a note of as well. The last one evolves further into that. So the last one, you are looking at what gaps and what frictions at each of them steps are stopping people from going to the next step. So how are they feeling? When they first see your brand, are they still feeling unsure? Are they still a bit, doubtful? Because everyone is when they first see a brand. Everyone feels like that. So what are you doing to, to satisfy that? What are you doing to reassure them? Show your value. And if you're losing people at that stage, then you can, focus on that and think, right, okay, let's communicate our value more. Let's make sure everyone feels good about going through our customer journey. So there, quickly, I wanted to get through them in case anyone was busy this morning. But they're the 6 questions that I really go deep in with my clients. And most of these questions, when we start our businesses, we go on these business courses, we go on these marketing courses. I've been on them myself. We want to bring, make our businesses successful. And the stuff that we learn from them courses and them training sessions gets us to a certain point. And digging deeper like this is what's going to then push you into that next level. So like we were saying before, it's going to get you standing out. It's going to get you more profit from your customers. It's going to get people believing in your brand just like you do. So, going deeper is definitely going to help you grow and scale.
Definitely. And I think they're great questions. I've got a couple I'm going to add to as well in a moment. I think, and I've actually just, people watching, I have put them into the comments. So you're able to go back and reflect on them after you finished watching this session. Excuse me, the session as well. Excuse me 1 second. I think one of the things is that the vast majority of people aren't prepared to do this kind of work. And this is how you're able to really set yourself aside from the competition, because in a good way, because most business owners, most marketing teams, they don't go deep enough. And it's all too easy to go, oh, shiny object, new marketing trend, new tactic, new piece of technology. And I think, I see this happening over and over again where, business owners get caught up in things. And, are they ready to implement that? Is it even the right strategy for them? Are they over investing in tools or strategies that they're not ready for yet, and it's actually costing them profits and perhaps even putting their business in danger? Or are they just so busy in the day-to-day that they're just not even thinking about these things? So, just really want you to think about that and tag someone in the comments that you feel needs to watch this and to apply this thinking to their business, because it is so powerful. And I think the questions that Jess has shared there are really important. They're definitely ones that want to be there. I love the what's the enemy one. I quite often use that with my clients in particularly when it comes to copywriting and putting messages out there. It's very powerful. So yeah, I think they're really fantastic. I do have a couple of things I want to add to that, but before I kind of go there, Stephen, what's your thoughts on what Jess has shared here?
So my brain's working overtime here. I'm looking at these questions and thinking, how do I apply those to what I do for my clients? Because I'm not selling to the end user. I'm instigating conversations and thought processes so that will enable the prospects to deal with my clients. So I'm thinking, how can I apply that indirectly? And it's It's a bit of a brain teaser for me, this one. So I wanted to ask you, how can I apply those questions? How would one go about, not just me, but
Well,
anybody?
if you made those questions and the ones I'm going to share as well as part of your onboarding process with your clients to get them thinking deeper, and if they don't know the answers, I can help them, Jess can help them, you can help them think deeper about these things, because like if you knew the answers to all of these questions, wouldn't it be so much easier for you to make appointments and to have really meaningful conversations with
This is absolutely, and I'm thinking to myself that then this would also enable me to be a bit more choosy about who I want to deal with, because we've had this conversation earlier, being able and not mature, but being able to walk away from a client that I don't feel I align with the answers to any of those 6 questions, or the majority of those 6 questions. So this is a real eye opener for me, Jess. This is amazing. It's giving me a lot more clarity, enabling me to operate smarter.
Good, because yeah, like Una said, you can answer these questions on what businesses you want to work with and what business owners you want to work with. But then, yeah, like Una says, get your clients to answer these questions as well, and then you can put yourself in their shoes. So using them, not trying to think of all the answers yourself because you're not going to know them, but utilizing them to get kind of the answers that you need. Also, another question that reminded me of another question I get asked a lot. I sell, people say, well, I sell B2B. I sell to businesses. I sell to the decision maker. I don't know what they're doing day in, day out, and they're thinking that it all is applying differently. But you're still talking to a person, whether you're talking to the decision maker, the business owner, the business, there's still one person that you're trying to, show your value to be able to get them on board with what you can do for the business. So just because you sell to a business, don't think, oh, these questions don't apply to me. They only apply to product-based businesses. Just remember, people are people. We buy off people. The rules don't change.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I go through these questions with my clients, and most of my clients are service-based. Though, interesting enough, in working with one of my product-based clients, just very recently, we're actually, going through these kinds of questions, but not only from the buyers. Sometimes the buyer, there could be a buyer and another person who's involved in the kind of buying process, but doesn't make the decision. And then there's a separate user. So, that's a business to business product based, client. And so the thing is, you actually need to understand these questions for each of those people. So you may use these questions multiple times, even within the one organization. And then, of course, if you have multiple, products or brands or categories of product or service, you may have different users, different buyers within those as well. So for instance, my online marketing academy, the answers to these questions would be a bit different than someone who's working with me on a private basis. So because they're at different stages in their journey. So people who come into the marketing academy, this is often their first step into working with a coach, or doing this kind of work on their business. Whereas, generally speaking, people who do private coaching with me, they have quite well-established businesses, and we're looking to, make them a lot more profitable and help them to be able to step back a bit from the day-to-day once they get certain things in place. So, so there's multiple different ways that you can utilize these questions. So one of the other ones I think is really important, particularly for, it applies to product-based businesses as well, though, is a question which is, how do you want your client to treat you? Okay, so, and actually just kind of saying, how does my ideal client treat me, and getting really, really clear. Okay, it's and this brings into play a whole host of things that I want my clients to think about. I want them to think about, how do they pay them? How do they communicate with them? How do they react if something doesn't go according to plan? All sorts of things like that. Just really thinking about, now for you, Stephen, this is very much for your direct client, not for their client necessarily, though actually it could apply as well. But this is very much about really being able to attract the types of clients that you want to work with. And I remember once working with a client who, when I said, well, so who do you want to be working with? And he actually said, you mean I have a choice? And I was like, well, yes, absolutely. So, if you're out there thinking, well, I just have to work with whoever's prepared to pay me. No, not at all. You have a choice about who you work with. And actually, interesting enough, to a large extent, the fussier you are about who you work with, the better clients you're going to get. So I think that's another one. Jess, you'd be so kind as to type that in, and we can get that up on screen. So who is it? How do you want your client to treat you? So how do they treat you? How do they respond in good situations? Like, one of the things for me is about my clients sharing about the great work that we do. So because that's a fantastic way to be getting referrals and to be getting testimonials and case studies that people are happy and willing to share about their experiences. So that's a great one to be answering in that question. And this one, I guess, is more about what you want in your target audience than who your target audience is, kind of from that marketing point of view. But I think it's just as important to make sure that you got clients that are really working for you. Okay. And then there's another one which I want to share, which is, and it's kind of slightly aligned to some of the things that Jess has talked about, but it's a different angle on it, which is what is the job to be done? Okay. And I think it's a question that really focuses us on the purpose of why somebody would want to buy your product or buy your service. And it's all too easy for people to forget about that because they get excited about what they love about their product or service. And you've got to, and this is where you can have people creating products and services that don't sell, because they're not really answering that question of, well, what's the job to be done here?
Can you give an example of that by any chance, Una, just for clarity?
Yeah, well, okay. So one client I was working with, we went through this process, and so they actually have software as a service. And so when we looked at this, there was a few different jobs to be done. So there were some very specific technical ones around the actual software. But there were some key things that were, well, I want to impress my clients, and I want to keep my clients. So I want to impress people to attract new clients, and also I want to keep the clients that I have. So it's thinking about, on a very deep emotional basis of why would they engage in using that software. So you could say, oh, they want, they're going to buy this software because it does A, B, C, and D, and be very features focused. But asking about what's the job to be done here drives it way deeper. Okay, so it's a great way of getting to the emotional gain. Whereas sometimes people can't come up with that on their own. But if you put yourself in your clients or customers' shoes and think about what's the job to be done here, and what does that actually mean for them emotionally. So it kind of, again, it just goes on a deeper level. Has that answered your question, Stephen? Right. I'm not seeing your comment coming up, Jess. Has it gone through?
Yeah, it should be. I posted it on the feed.
Weird. It's not coming up. So I'm just gonna. What was the first one I said?
How do you want your client to treat you?
That's it. Thank you.
And then what is the job to be done is the next one.
Yeah. Yes. So, and that's the thing. So how will your ideal client, excuse the typing noises here, treat you? Yeah. So, and then, yeah, for some reason it wasn't coming up here so that I could share it. Yeah. And then the other one is about the what is the job to be done here. So I'd love to know your thoughts on those, Jess and Stephen.
Yeah, I think that what is the job to be done here? It's a really good way of exploring it, because, like you said, you know your product, your service inside out, don't you? But sometimes it's hard to get in the mindset of your client and your customer, and thinking about it. Some of us might be able to just know them and go, oh yeah, that's it, a light bulb moment. But other of us might think, oh, I'm not quite sure how, getting caught up in them features and that functional stuff, because that's the stuff that, well, as well, another point I'd make to say on that, your emotional buying, it's a subconscious buying, isn't it? Your logical and your functional and rational buying is your conscious buying. So when we go out as consumers and buy, we're leading with our conscious mind. So when we're selling, we're thinking, right, okay, we need to lead with consciousness, but really a lot of buying, a lot of decision making happens subconsciously. And it's not all fluff either. It's behavioral science. If you want to know more about that, just Google behavioral science. There's a science behind it. It's not marketing fluff. It's not, we're not persuading people to do things they don't want to do. We're just making sure we're standing out, making sure you stand out. So then, they notice you and you can give them the value that you can offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things for anyone. I think sometimes smaller business owners can have blocks around marketing and sales, thinking that, oh, this is me being manipulative. And, if you believe in your product or service, then, you'll know that there are people out there who need that. So how is it manipulative to tap into what they already want and need? And sometimes it's just about, you're actually really doing your audience a favor by helping to create more desire, so that enough desire so they actually take action and get to benefit. And if you don't feel that your product or service is of good enough benefit that you feel comfortable doing that, then please go and do something else. Because it's never going to work. Like, we need to feel congruent and in integrity in what it is that we are sharing with our customers. So
it's very similar to some stories we were sharing last week as well, when we were talking about being able to increase your prices without getting pushbacks and things like that. And it's about communicating that value. So there was a good story that you shared, Una, which I'll put the link in the comments for that video to watch back at that. But, the client, your client's client, if you will, missed out on thousands and millions of pounds within a few years of not working with your client, because they didn't know the value. They didn't know what the solution was with them. Yeah. So, thinking about it like that, what's your client or customer missing out on, by not having your product or service?
Absolutely. And talking about other show episodes, also next week we're going to be doing a cold calling clinic where Stephen will be taking the stage. And so what we're looking for is, kind of 2 or 3 people or even one person who would like to come on and actually be here as a panelist and do and have a bit of a clinic with Stephen. So if you would like to do that, please reach out to Stephen directly or comment below. And because this is a fantastic opportunity to get some free training from a sales expert. So,
we've got Helen. Helen's coming. So Helen.
Excellent. Helen as well. Brilliant. So Helen Seabay will be here too. So next week is very much focusing around sales. So it'll be that cold calling clinic. And remember as well that the cold calling isn't necessarily just about selling. It could just be about appointment making. So, because depending on what your product or service is, it may not be that you're looking to make that sale on the call, but what you are looking to do is move people to the next step in the kind of prospect journey, in the sales process. And obviously, the more people who you get into that, then the more people are going to end up that you actually get to help. So very powerful there. Fantastic. Okay, well, look, we've I think we've come to the end of today, but I just want to pull out like what's been the key thing or the highlight, or what it is that you just want to finish up with. So Jess, I'll come to you first. What's been most significant for you in today's show?
It's been good to hear different angles of kind of going about similar questions, which is really important, finding the angle that works for you. What I would like to say, I suppose, is, take these questions back, read them, write them out, explore them. And at any point, if you're coming across a bit of a friction, a bit of a gap, or you're not quite sure how to go that extra mile with it, reach out to one of us, whoever you resonate with the most. Reach out to us and ask us some questions. We're here to help. So yeah, please go away, use these questions and see how you get on with them. And let us know if they work for you. Don't just leave, let us know and tell us how you get on with that.
Absolutely. I'm not sure who this is because it's not showing up for me, but thank you. We appreciate you coming along. Yeah, absolutely. Just in case people aren't aware that when the LinkedIn Live is finished, you are able to go back. It might take a few minutes to process, but you are able to go back to the beginning and watch from there so that you get what you missed out on. Because even though we put the questions in the comments, actually getting to hear the discussion around them, I think, is quite powerful. So fabulous, good stuff. Stephen,
I have loved the 8 questions. They have given me a lot more clarity and a lot more focus, because at the end of the day, when I first started my journey, I was trying to help everybody, even if I wasn't specifically aligning myself with their values. I was just looking to take anybody on. But now, having 12, 18 months down the line, I want to target who I want to work with a lot more specifically, so I can truly add value. Because the question that really important to me is, how do you want your client to treat you? I don't want to be seen as an outsourced business development. I want to be seen as a team member. I'm just not on their payroll, as it were, permanently payroll. Yeah. I've got great relationship with my clients that come back time and time again. For me, it's not about doing 1 or 2 months. It's about longevity of service. I want to be there for the long haul. So by truly understanding the business, the process, the values, what they're looking to achieve, I can jump in with both feet and be a long-term key member of their team.
Great.
So
absolutely.
These 8 questions are phenomenal. They're fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Stephen. And yeah, I think for me, one of the things that we didn't talk about a lot is this question here, and I think it's because it's such a huge topic. But what I just wanted to say is, once you've identified, when you identify those gaps and frictions, it then gives you lots that you can do to make the process smooth. Now, occasionally you may want to put a hurdle in to dissuade people who you don't want in your sales process. That can, I often advise people to be doing that. But obviously for those, right fit prospects, you do want to make things as smooth and as easy for them as possible. And there's opportunities there to look at, okay, what is it that they're buying from you? What changes can you make to your sales process? What pieces of marketing collateral can you utilize along the way? What pieces of education can you use along the way as well? There's a whole host of things in there around the customer journey in terms of, all of it. It all applies, kind of, you got to take a holistic view of this from a strategic point of view, a messaging point of view, physical things, online things, and just making sure that everything fits together to have that seamless kind of brand experience and prospect experience, that they feel like a customer before they're even a customer. When you can do that, that's the most powerful thing of all. I'm going to finish up on that. Fantastic. Great. Thank you, Jess, for sharing those 6 questions as well. And Stephen, your questions, I think, have really helped add some depth to this. We're going to be here same time next week with our cold calling clinic. So make sure to reach out to any of us or Stephen for that. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, we're going to say bye for now. Have a fantastic day, week, and month, and we will see you soon.
Bye,
See you
everyone.
next week.